Hey everyone, I'm Thomas and this is Fox Automotive, and as many of you know, I own a modified 2015 Ford Explorer Sport, so logically many of you have been asking my thoughts on the new 6th generation of Ford Explorer, specifically the ST model, and if I'm going to be upgrading. And I've been trying to remain pretty neutral on this topic as I've really tried to digest the new body style, the new generation, and kind of formulate my thoughts before I jump to any conclusions, as obviously it'd be a big decision for me. And I've made a couple other videos just talking about the what's new in the 6th generation and the pricing, so you can check those out if you're looking for more information on the 6th generation specifically. But if you're here for my answer, I'm finally going to give it to you today in this video, and I'm going to explain why I will not be upgrading to the new Ford Explorer ST. So I'm really going to break this video down into two parts. The first part is going to be the objective reasons, the kind of more tangible, logical reasons why I like and do not like the new generation of the Ford Explorer. And then I'll end the video by getting into the more subjective or emotional reasons as to why I don't like the new generation of Ford Explorer. So we're going to start with the objective part because frankly that's much easier because it's just all based on logic. There's no personal opinion here. So things I like about it are, one, it's an all new platform, which is huge. It's rear wheel drive based, which means there's no more PTU involved. Obviously I would still get an all wheel drive model, and I think the ST only comes in all wheel drive. But living in Minnesota it'd be required anyway. But the fact that it's rear wheel drive based will have a huge impact on the driving characteristics of the vehicle, and also, as I mentioned, getting rid of that PTU that's on the current generation will be huge in terms of reliability and how much power these can make. Another big change with this new platform is a switch to the 3-liter EcoBoost engine rather than the 3.5 that's in the outgoing generation. Personally, I don't really have a strong opinion on this. It's obviously a newer motor. It's been on the Lincoln side for a couple years now. It's being implemented in some Ford vehicles. It seems that it might have potential to make more power on the aftermarket side than the 3.5, which is obviously good for someone who would modify their vehicle. It will hopefully be pretty reliable and solid like the 3.5 has been for me. But likely the issue you're going to run into with making more power is going to be fueling. So hopefully there's upgrades to the fuel system, the fuel pump, but my guess is that it's going to be kind of the same problem as the 3.5, so you're going to be kind of capped on how much power you can make cheaply. So all in all, I don't really feel strongly either way about the new engine. My biggest complaint is still that obviously it's a V6 with twin turbos, and it's really not going to sound good, and certainly not going to have a sound characteristic that fits the kind of presence and character that I believe a performance SUV should have. But the benefit of this new engine is that it is mounted longitudinally rather than transverse, which means the transmission options are now wide open. So the new generation gets to upgrade to the 10-speed transmission, which will be a huge improvement in terms of performance as well as efficiency, which will be a very welcome change versus the aging and just frankly not that good 6-speed transmission in the outgoing generation that I'm stuck with. But from the sort of tangibles of the new generation, those are the main things that really grab my attention. Nothing about the interior or redesign is that significant to me. Obviously they've redesigned the head unit on the new models, which I subjectively don't like. Objectively, I haven't played with it, so I don't know if it's really better than the outgoing ones. And the exterior doesn't look, say, drastically different than the facelift of the 5th generation, the 2016 through 2019 models. So as we dive into my personal opinion here, feel free to disagree with me and drop a comment down below with why you feel differently about it. But just keep in mind, this is my personal opinion. I'm not trying to tell you this is how you should feel or this is the way it is. It's just this is how I feel about it. So starting from a look standpoint, this is where I really lose interest in the new generation of Explorer. Kind of starting at the front, and just, I guess I should back up. In interest of full disclosure, yes, I have seen it in person. I've seen a Platinum and an ST in person. So this is not just based off photographs, because I know photographs can be very deceiving in terms of how a vehicle actually looks versus seeing it in person. And I've tried to give it a while to grow myself, but I really don't like the looks, and I think that's the main reason why I will not be upgrading, and we'll get into that in my conclusion. But starting at the front, my biggest complaint is that the new generation looks much softer. I don't know necessarily if that's the best word to use, but I think that's maybe an appropriate adjective to describe it. It doesn't have a presence or a look of aggression that I would like to see in an SUV, especially a performance SUV. And I'm not saying that all SUVs have to look this way. I'm just saying that me personally as a consumer, that's what I would like to see in it. A couple things I do like are continuing with the black accents for the ST model in particular, the grille and just some of the black accents throughout the vehicle, much like they did with the sport trims. I appreciate that they're continuing that. I think that looks sharp. The 21-inch wheels look really nice. But again, that's really all I have that I like about it. Getting around to the back of the vehicle is where I really dislike it. I think the proportions are just super awkward. I really dislike the taillight design and the I don't know if it's just the spacing or what it is, but something just feels very awkward on the backside of the vehicle. And then you have this huge floating piece in the middle. It's kind of like this big like chin bar or something, that big black trim piece on the back. That's just, I think the fact that that's not connected to the taillights like it was in previous generations really hurts the design language and design characteristics of the back. On the bright side, however, I think this could be a pretty simple fix, and I've actually gone through and photoshopped a couple different variations of like how I think it could be improved. So we'll do a side by side comparison here. On the far left, we have just the ST as it is now. In the middle, we have just what it would look like if maybe that trim piece was made a little bit smaller and actually connected the taillights, and then the taillights were redesigned a bit so that the lines within them kind of fit that trim piece, much like they were in the previous generation. And then on the far right, we have an image where I took a little bit more work into redesigning the back into something that I personally find more attractive, just to show how maybe a facelift or a change in a couple of years could kind of readdress the looks of the back and possibly make it more attractive to someone like me. All right, so let's kind of work our way into the conclusion here. I know I'm being very nitpicky, but one, the design of the vehicle really matters a lot to me. I have a background in design, specifically architecture, so I know I'm being nitpicky, but these are kind of things that stand out to me personally. And frankly, if you're going to be spending $60,000 on a vehicle, you deserve to be this nitpicky. And I think that's where this new generation Ford Explorer really loses me, is that if I were to get an ST spec'd out the way I want, the total would come to just over $60,000, which is obviously a huge amount of money, and it's such a big step up from the previous generation. And I know there's added features in this generation you don't get in the previous generation, so I'm not trying to make an apples to apples comparison, but I'm saying that if I'm spending that much money on a vehicle, I'm going to be very picky about it, and I'm going to get something that really excites me, because the fact of the matter is all consumers are going to buy based on emotion. There are very few people who are disciplined enough to purchase solely based on the objective features or what makes logical sense. People are always persuaded by emotion, and there's nothing about this new generation of Ford Explorer, specifically the ST model, that excites me enough to make me want to make that purchase. So for now, I'm going to continue building my 2015 and modifying that and seeing where that goes for now until something else grabs my attention and convinces me to make a move into a new vehicle. But thanks so much for watching, guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below on what you think of the new generation. Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? I'd love to have a conversation about it down below, so drop a comment. I'll be sure to respond to you. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button and get subscribed. We're quickly on our way to 1,000 subscribers here, which is a huge milestone for any YouTube channel. So thank you, all of you, for your support. It really means a lot to us here at Fox Automotive. And with that being said, thanks again. We'll see you in the next video.